Well, hello. Today, I hope you will enjoy our Math Center. We are going to be adding something new to our math toolbox. Let's start at the beginning of our slideshow. All right. Our toolbox is getting pretty full. We've been learning a lot about fractions. One tool in our toolbox is the number line. We understand that the number line can be chopped up into pieces. We understand our benchmark fraction 1/2, and that helps us to decide the order of fractions or compare fractions. For example, we know that 4/5 is not very far away from 1. We know it's more than 1/2, and so we know that 4/5 would be on this side of our benchmark fraction half. We also know that 1/8 is far away from a whole. It would need 7 more pieces. And because we know that it's not even halfway there, we know that 1/8 would fall on this side of the number line. Our number lines can be helpful, and we need to keep it in our toolbox at all times. We also learned what a whole is. We understand that if our numerator and our denominator are the same, then that is equal to a whole. Look at this pizza. If it's cut into 6 slices, if Big Mama ate 6 slices, I would have eaten 1 whole pizza. Take a look at this. Let's count and see how many pieces we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of them are colored in. This fraction represents 7/7. It's the whole circle. And we learned the pattern. 8/8, 1 whole. 5/5, 1 whole. 10/10, 1 whole. 3/3, 1 whole. I think we get the picture. It's important that we understand what makes a whole. Also in our toolbox, we've learned how to rename fractions. We can rename fractions 1/2, 1/4, and 1/2, and then 2/4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 4/8. As you can see, each of these has a different name, but it still represents the same amount. We can look at these pictures to see this is true, but when I ask you for equivalent fractions, what should you do? You pick a number. Anyone will do. You just multiply the top and the bottom too. Now you have 2 fractions that are the same, but you better double check if your original fraction equals the one with a new name. And another tool that leads us to another tool in our toolbox, cross multiplication. So we get on our tool to cross multiply. Are the products the same? Let's give it a try. 1/2 and 2/4. Here's our 1/2. Here's our 2/4. Let's see if they're the same. We would cross multiply. We'd go from the bottom to the top. Let's do 2 times 2. That gives us 4. And 4 times 1 also gives us 4. So these fractions are equivalent. Take a look at these fractions. They all have something in common. Each one has half of the circle shaded. But look below. They each have a different name. The same amount, but a different name. We can rename fractions and keep them the same amount. Today, we're going to add a tool into our toolbox. We're going to learn how to add fractions and subtract fractions. Let's take a look at this math problem here. It's already been completed, and it is the correct answer is 3/5. Whoever did this problem knew how to add. Let's study it. Let's start with the numerators. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Easy. All they did was add the two top numbers and get 3, but this is weird. 5 plus 5 is 10. Why is there a 5 here? Let's think about this some more. Here is 1/5. 1/5 plus 2/5. Well, that gives us 3 on the top, but did our pieces change? No, our denominator never changed. We are talking about fifths here, we're talking about fifths here, and we're talking about fifths here. So our denominator never changes. So boys and girls, would you please raise your right hand and make Miss Carlisle a promise? Promise that you will never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever add your denominators. Do you promise? Our denominator always stays the same. All right, you promised. Let's move to subtraction. Here's a subtraction problem that a student did. They did it perfectly. Let's take a look. 9 minus 5 is 4. And they did not change the denominator. This looks like they should get a 100 on this, A+. But wait a minute. Look at this answer, 4/14. Miss Carlisle likes all her answers in simplest form. I think I better find a greatest common denominator and simplify this answer. The greatest common denominator of 4 and 14 is 2. We will divide, and what we do to the top, we do to the bottom, and I get 2/7. Phew, I'm so glad I wanted this in simplest form, and now I have it. 2/7 is equivalent to 4/14. It's just its simplest form. From this moment on, every answer you give Big Mama better be in the simplest form. Raise your hands one more time. Promise me one more time. I will never, ever, 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 ever subtract my denominators. It will always stay the same. You promised. So, we add or subtract the numerator only, never the denominator. We check to see if our answer is in simplest form. You better make sure. This is easy as pie. I think you're ready to play your game. Today you're going to play a game called Feed Me Fractions. I'll show you how to play. Here's the game, and I'm going to press go. The directions say to click on 2 fractions that add up to 1. Oh, I see what they mean. They want me to pick 2 fractions that add up to 1 whole. Like this one. 2/3 plus 1/3 gives me 3/3. And when the numerator and the denominator are the same, it equals 1. I think I'm ready to play this game. I'm going to feed my fraction monster. Ooh, I got to make him grow. Oh my goodness. Look at this time ticking. Ooh, a lot of pressure here. 5/7 plus 2/7. That equaled a whole. Can I add 1/2 plus 2/3? No. They have to have the same denominator. What did I say? They have to have the same denominator. Oh, look. Here's a 1/9 and here's a 1/9. 6/9 plus 3/9 equals 9/9, which is another whole. He's getting bigger. 4ths. 2/4 plus 2/4 gives me 4/4. I got another whole. I better start working faster. 1/5 plus 4/5 gives me 5/5. That's a whole. 1/2 plus 1/2 gives me 2/2. That's a whole. 2/3 plus 1/3 gives me 3/3. That's a whole. 2/8 plus 6/8. I think you get this. And that leaves me the last 2. And now my monster is the goal it's supposed to be. I think it's awesome if you can do this. But you can beat the clock, you can play again. It gets harder and harder, and you can continue to make fractions that equal 1 whole today. And then I'll call you back to my table later to do some more adding and subtracting. Good luck at your center today.